I'm going to go ahead with the meeting beginning ritual. 起立，面上佛堂，参加先鞠躬，一鞠躬，再鞠躬，三鞠躬，参加各位的传世一鞠躬，开班一鞠躬，请坐下。
I was talking to my son yesterday. I do that every now and again. On Saturdays, I teach a martial class in Tai Chi Chuan. Now, a lot of people don't know this in the West, but Tai Chi Chuan is a martial art. What we refer to in the West as Tai Chi is not actually the name of the art, nor is it the proper pronunciation. Although on the website for the school and most of my publications and what have you, I go ahead and preserve the Western spelling and pronunciations because it's what American people recognize. Tai Chi Chuan means the supreme or ultimate extent of the fist. So let that marinate in your minds for just a moment. And understand that in ancient times, guys like Yang Ban Ho had nicknames like Yang the Invincible. One of the progenitors of the Yang style of Tai Chi was never defeated in single combat ever in his lifetime. Now, there are multiple schools of Tai Chi practice these days. Some legitimate, some not so much, and a few of which spring from ancient families in China in or near or around the Wudong Mountain Temple or Handan. Okay, among those are the Qian styles, the Yang style, the Wudong Mountain Temple style, which is what I practice. It's what Master Huang taught. Pardon. There's a Wu style and a Zhou style that are predominantly concerned with the medicinal and healing aspects of Tai Chi Chuan. And all of those various ancient systems have an awful lot in common. It leads to one of my favorite jokes. How many Tai Chi masters does it take to change a light bulb? 100. One to change the bulb and 99 to say, well, but in our style, we do it this way. Anyway, Aaron and I were chatting. You'll notice I haven't even gotten off my intro slide yet. We were chatting on the way back from the martial class because one of the fundamental tenets of Tai Chi martial arts is relaxation and moving without the intent to cause harm. Okay? The ways of Tai Chi Chuan, which is an internal martial art as opposed to karate or taekwondo or some of the other martial systems that folks may be more familiar with, are external styles, hard styles. In teachings of Zhan Shangfeng, the original, if you will, father of Tai Chi Chuan, whether he was mythical or not, a question that I find to be completely irrelevant. The tenets of relaxation and non-tension and moving with benevolence and not intending to bring harm to an opponent were all laid down. Tai Chi Chuan is a Taoist martial science. There's no mistaking that in any way, shape, or form by anyone who truly understands it. And the teachings of ancient Taoism are completely intertwinkled with the teachings of Tai Chi Chuan. That's not just a commingling or a supported by. The teachings are an integral part of the practice of the martial system. Without them, it's impossible to deeply understand the Tai Chi practices, okay? That's also absolutely a fact. I've had a lot of Westerners try to argue that point with me, but I know better, and anybody who wants to know, I'll be happy to demonstrate to. The concept of relaxing and moving without the intent to harm in a conflict-based situation is antithetical to Western thinking. It's difficult. It's hard for people to get their heads around. I mean, after all, this person who's attacking you is trying to hurt you. They're trying to injure you. They may be trying to kill you. Isn't that the time where you ought to pull your best tricks out of the bag of tricks and just beat them senseless? Well, there was a time in my life, because my martial experience spans well over 40 years, that I would have said, yeah, gee, if somebody's trying to harm you that bad, reach into your bag of tricks, pull out your shotgun and shoot them. However, over the years, I have come to learn that hard, rigid, inflexible, immovable, rigid defensive stance, even though it can be quite effective, is also an invitation to a lot of pain and injury, both inflicted by the opponent and inflicted by oneself. Yeah, I'm approaching 60 years of age these days, and I got to tell you, I'm no longer inclined to participate in the kind of conditioning I used to do when I was in my 20s and practicing the hard styles. I don't think right now I'd go slam my shins or foreheads into a bamboo bundle 100 times a day than I'd go slam my forehead into a brick wall. That no longer appeals to me in any way, shape, or form. When I was 20, being a tough guy I thought was a big deal. Now it just hurts. And the older I get, the more pain averse I become. I don't mind admitting that. Not only do I not want to get hurt, I don't want to hurt anybody else. And now I have a whole bag of tricks that includes all sorts of things that I can do that do not bring harm or injury to an opponent, and yet very effectively prevent them from bringing harm to me. And really at its root, the purpose of all martial science is to end the conflict and not to beat the opponent senseless. What does that have to do with the Tao Te Ching? Well, let's talk about that for just a moment. Chapter 10 is a somewhat longer chapter than I typically address in half an hour, but this is important, and there are some deep insights that we can glean from this chapter of the Tao Te Ching. And there's a reason why I labeled this talk Relax with a great big exclamation point, a topic that I've not previously dug into just on its own. But I digress. In holding the soul and embracing oneness, can one be steadfast without straying? In concentrating the energy and achieving relaxation, can one be like an infant? In clearing away the worldly view, can one be without imperfections? In loving the people and ruling the nation, can one be without manipulation? In the heavenly gates opening and closing, can one hold to the feminine principle? In understanding clearly all directions, can one be without intellectuality? Bearing it, rearing it, bearing without possession, achieving without arrogance, raising without domination. This is called mystic virtue. Well. Now we get to why I labeled this relax. relaxation, emotional detachment, mental equanimity, tranquility, and a firm, well-grounded connection to the source, to the void, to the Tao itself, are essential to achieving the teachings set forth in Chapter 10. In holding the soul and embracing oneness, one must let go of emotional and mental tension, of preconceptions and notions of inferiority or superiority, either one, of an unrealistic self-view and image. In concentrating the energy and reaching relaxation, once again, a fundamental tenet of the practice of Tai Chi Chuan. One must become, as Lao Tzu says, like an infant. How does an infant behave? An infant is relaxed from the get-go. They do not know emotional tension or contrivance or manipulation or arrogance or how to use other people badly. They don't get tense because they can't unwind. They're unwound already. They lack the capacity for all of the mental games that cause us grown-ups anxiety and tension and stress. And so the challenge is for us to achieve that natural relaxation, just like a baby does. A baby knows that it's hungry, it's wet, it's scared, it needs a hug, it wants to see mom and dad. Its needs are simple and centered around survival. Food, shelter, clothing, the absence of fear, a loving touch. And as long as it has what it needs and it's not in some way sick or hurt, typically you have a happy baby. I've had several. I have a little experience in that particular domain. And so far, all of mine are still relatively happy, which makes my life less tense and stressful. In clearing away the worldly view to be without imperfections, one has to have a realistic viewpoint, and one can't be a realist when one is beset by stress and anxiety and worry, or by pridefulness and arrogance and the illusion of power. Either extreme on those scales cause for us to have a warped and skewed worldly view that doesn't function. In loving the people and ruling the nation, there are at least two obvious levels to this line. The people at large, sure, having compassion, goodwill, a desire not to bring harm or manipulation or abuse to others. That's absolutely in there. But most of us will never rule a country, small, large, or in the middle. What we will rule is our own lives. Lao Tzu asks, can we do that without manipulation? Can we do that without deluding ourselves or others? Part of that worldly view thing again. If we truly want to achieve that goal, we have to turn loose of the things that make us nuts. In understanding clearly all directions, our vision has to be unclouded by the illusions and delusions of this world, by the emotional extremes that we allow ourselves to get sucked into. And so relaxation and detachment truly are the keys to success here. Without them, we have a very difficult time navigating the shark-infested waters of the world, if you will. and understand that the vast majority of the world does not look at life the same way we do or try to do. We all know far too many people whose worldview is one of how do I get to where I want to be, regardless of who I have to step on to get there. How do I get what I want, regardless of what those around me perhaps need? Even the evaluation of what do I need versus what do I want. How much crap do I need to pile up in my garage before I'm finally happy with my pile of toys? In our interactions with ourselves, we play perhaps the most dangerous emotional game there is. The game of let's guess which delusion we're suffering under today. The game of trying to kid ourselves that we have some kind of control or power over our environments and other people, when in point of fact, the only thing we have control over is how we choose to react to what happens around us. When you hear someone talking about how they've been a cruel or a cruelly abused victim of fate, or where where circumstance dealt them a bad hand, or where their life just went to pieces and they're not sure why. When you watch an individual who lives their life from one train wreck to another with absolutely no hope of escape, you're looking at someone who's living under the delusions of ownership and power and control, where the worldly view is definitely not clear. And yet when you talk to these folks, they will swear up and down that they are just fine and the universe is out to get them. A common trait amongst these people is an absolute off the scale level of tension and anxiety and worry. And I can kind of understand it, you know, in the movie Home Alone 2, or Lost in New York, if that's the second one, where Macaulay Culkin's up on the roof of this building that's being renovated and the two bandits are down on the sidewalk. You know, one of them yells, "Let me have it," and the kid, you know, sails a brick off the top of the building, hits one of them square in the face with it. And this happens 2 or 3 times in a row. And by the time it's over with, the poor bandit could barely stand up, and, you know, he's seeing triple and his knees are weak and things aren't working so good. And he's beginning to become fearful and anxiety stricken. Well, yeah, I get that. If I got hit in the face with a brick every time I looked up, I think I might have a little anxiety myself. But the teachings of Lao Tzu and Zhang Song Feng, if you care to participate, teach us how to look up without getting hit in the face with a brick. How many people choose to watch that brick sailing down off the top of the building until it smacks them right in the face? Those are the delusions. And the delusions can hurt us as bad as the reality, perhaps even worse. When we interact with other people, the more relaxed and at ease we are, the less tense we are, the less anxious we are, the less tense and anxious and worried they are. The easier it is to relate to the other person, because there isn't that wall of tension between you. And this is a topic I understand well. I'm not a huge socialite. I'm not. I tend to get pretty stressed out when I have to when I have to speak to large groups of people, or where I don't feel like I'm really well prepared for what's going on. I got caught in a meeting at work a week or so ago, where the agenda for the meeting wound up going left to center and wound up on a topic that I just absolutely was not prepared to discuss, and it just blew my entire groove. I have to shamefully admit that I got so doggone flustered I couldn't even think, let alone talk. And it was because I became anxious and tense over trying to come up with the right answer that I was unable to come up with any answer at all. And what that did to the tenor of the meeting was unbelievably bad. It was a pleasant meeting for me, not even close. But I learned a valuable lesson there, and you can bet that if I have anything to do with it, that sure isn't going to happen twice. See, the tension and anxiety that we're talking about here, the other side of achieving relaxation and concentrating the energy, is the ability to prevent those sorts of things from happening by alleviating those tensions. The first thing that Lao Tzu mentions in that pair of lines, though, concentrating the energy, is something that may escape most Westerners or folks that don't have a passing understanding of the Qi, the Jing, and the Xian, the essential energies. In concentrating the energies, at least on the path that I'm walking at the moment, and there may be additional interpretations for this, concentrating the energy is being aware of and focusing the Qi, the energy of the universe, the energy that makes a human being go, if you will. The Qi has a powerful effect on the body and the mind, and it has a powerful effect on the people around me. When it's calm and centered, concentrated and focused in the dantian, a little space 2 fingers below your belly button, roughly, then it has a calmative influence on those around me. Other people can feel it. If it's assertive and aggressive, people can feel that. And so over time, I've learned to use that energy to help keep things flat, level, and tranquil. And in trying to exude that from within myself, I notice that it keeps me in the same general condition. Concentrating the energy is a focusing exercise of the mind and the spirit to first become aware of the energy and then to learn how to move it. But it isn't difficult to do, and the benefits are pretty substantial. In all of our interactions, whether or not we are relaxed, whether or not we are manipulative, arrogant, whether or not, we appear to have a grip on some form of unity and oneness, whether or not we appear to believe what we're saying, right? All of those things are important. And they rest on relaxation and detachment, not making a huge emotional investment in outcomes and appearances, but rather making a huge investment in the well-being of others and ourselves. About living a life that can be relatively free as much as is possible from anxieties and tensions and stress. I don't know if anybody ever fully gets out from underneath them, I can tell you that in the years since I started cultivating the Tao teachings, that I've managed to crawl out from underneath an awful lot of them. The wonderful thing about doing this is that the longer you practice and the more you pay attention, the less tension and anxiety you have to have. The more relaxed we can become. And when we stop for a moment to think about the ways of the world at large, and we look at what I call the meism and entitlement of an awful lot of the people out running around there, it's pretty easy to see the differences between what Lao Tzu says should happen and very often what does happen. And from there, it's really simple to infer the wisdom of applying the teachings and reaching the relaxed state. And so to kind of summarize here, I want to leave you with a set of questions, because ultimately, this is one of those talks where I can't really tell you what to do or how to do it, but hopefully kind of illuminate the necessity for the exercise, if you will. Can we cultivate ourselves without straying from the path, without arrogance, without imperfections, without overthinking? Can we become like an infant? Can we relate ourselves or relate to ourselves and others without manipulation and contrivance, without trying to take advantage of the other person just to win, without trying to take advantage of them at all? Something I didn't spend much time on because it takes much more time than I have right now to explain, and probably will become a topic all its own, is can we hold to the feminine principle? Can we espouse and embrace the yin energy and express that to all those around us? This is a tremendously important topic, but one that has much more depth than I can talk to at the moment. In short, can we achieve the mystic virtue? Is the mystic virtue even possible to achieve? Now, I haven't achieved it yet, but I'm giving it my best effort. And if it is, hopefully one day I'll get there fairly shortly. I guess fairly shortly is a relative term. And I hope the same for all of you, because that mystic virtue is the key to success in all of our relationships and to taking the tension and stress and anxiety out of our lives. Thank you all so very much for letting me share with you, and I sure hope that something I said here today was helpful.
Bill, thank you. You mentioned feeling stressed in speaking to large groups, but you're speaking to a large group of people right now. You seem pretty relaxed.
Yeah, but to me, I'm just talking to my microphone.
So Bill, from Frank says, good discussion, Bill. I've enjoyed it. From Tim, as always, Bill, you offer a solid blueprint to live a happier and more contented life.
Thanks, guys.
And Frank says, your talk, Bill, reminds him of what is really important to him. From Julie, Julie says, enjoy your upcoming road trip, Bill.
Thank you.
And I have a question for you as well. You've been involved with Qigong and Tai Chi for decades now. So in those years of vast experience that you have, what would you say is the most interesting demonstration of the Qi that you have ever seen?
Seen or done?
Well, I guess whatever you want to talk about. And maybe there are, way too many answers. So just pick whatever comes to mind.
There are actually two. The one that was perhaps the The wildest thing I've ever seen, I had an opportunity to see Bruce Lee do a demonstration years and years and years ago, where he hung a 2x4 from a thread, a piece of cotton thread, and broke it. And then he demonstrated a 3-inch punch on a student that was holding a set of pillows in front of him, and he impacted the pillows, didn't hit the student, and took him off his feet. It was amazing.
Wow.
I saw Master Pan from Okinawa take a dozen guys down with one push, lined up front to back, arms on shoulders. That was pretty amazing. The most interesting thing I've ever accomplished actually was yesterday in combat class. I used a Xingyi Shran technique to bring Aaron to his knees without hitting him. I put 4 fingers on him and brought him down in a matter of just seconds.
Wow.
And that was something. I've been working the Xingyi and energetic techniques for several years, and that was pretty doggone exciting.
So I think, in your approach to chi energy, you see it both as a powerful force, but also as a harmonizing flow among people. Would that be accurate?
Yes. I tell people that my ally is the Tao of heaven and the Chi, and that's a powerful friend to have.
And that sounds a little bit like Master Yoda.
Not so much like that. What I try to explain to them is that it shows me things that most people can't see and tells me things that they don't know. And it does. Zhang Songfeng said, in part, I alone know everyone. No one knows me. And also that not a fly could land or a feather light because it can't find a stable place on which to put its feet. Those teachings are energetic teachings. They're neijia. But to understand them requires instruction and a lot of practice.
Indeed.
And I've been at it now for going on 40 years.
Yeah. Well, as you know, I'm just an observer from the sidelines. But, on Facebook, for instance, there are many practitioners like yourself that that I'm Facebook friends with. So what they look at, what they share, I sometimes get to take a look at pretty interesting stuff as well. I just saw a YouTube video that someone shared of a Qigong master. He demonstrated breaking bricks, which, I think everyone has seen a zillion times. Then what he did was that he took an egg, an uncooked egg, held it in his hand, and, set the brick, against the edge of a table and used his hand holding the egg to break the brick. And the egg was still okay. And then he cracked the egg to show that it's actually uncooked, so, the yolk flowed out of it and so forth. So
that's stellar. That's very good.
And that sounds kind of similar to what you're talking about as well.
Yeah. Although we don't do a lot of breaking, I teach enough breaking for the students to know they can concentrate the energy. But we're not really a breaking school. That's a discipline unto itself,
Fascinating. And I think, back to the topic at hand, our focus is not necessarily on breaking bricks with holding an egg or not holding an egg, but on living life. And on that note, Warku says, for your presentation, Bill, very good. I often have office conflicts. this helps.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I truly appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
And you know, to resolve a problem in the office without hurting people's feelings, that's kind of like breaking a brick, holding an egg in your hand without breaking. You know, some people do have egos that are sort of like the egg, rather easy to crack.
Yes, 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 they do. And I think we all have at least one of those somewhere.
I think so. I'm still working on it. So, okay, excellent.
Let's go ahead and do the meeting ending ritual, everybody. 起立，面向佛堂，持架三鞠躬，一鞠躬，再鞠躬，三鞠躬，持架规则是一鞠躬，接班一鞠躬。Okay, everybody, we are done.
Participate in the Tao meeting by joining us online. For information, go to taoism.net/Tao